Hello, colleagues and friends. I think that over 3 days of our live broadcast, we have become friends uh, interested in bilateral tourism development. Today, we continue speaking about industrial tourism in Russia. I am Olga Shandurenko, representative of the Agency for Strategic Initiatives, the program to develop industrial tourism. And today, I'm having my colleagues live from Russian regions, who I suppose would indulge you and enloved you in their regions to think, visiting their regions to learn about tourism and industry. So we will start with Far East. Ekaterina Kireva, first Deputy Minister for Foreign Economic Relations, Tourism and Entrepreneurship of the Amur region. Larissa Solomatina, head of the Tourism Committee of Tula region. This is the region where Russian arms and weapons, as well as samovars and gingerbread, are produced. Sergei Agudin, head of the Vladimir Regional Tourism Committee, and my co-host, Sergei Ryzhov, General Director of Mice Market. Sergei will be in two phases today. Alongside with me, he will be telling you about methodology and technology of industrial tourism development in Russia, and would also present for you a chance to travel to Samara Oblast. Well, colleagues, I am ready to show my screen and slides to tell you what is industrial tourism in Russia. Let's decide from the start. Speaking about industrial tourism, we are going to tell you not just industrial major plants and factories that Russia is proud of, and but also about many other things related to industrial processes. This is folk crafts, production of food or gastronomic delicacies that Russia is famous for, as well as the techno parks, and a chance to set up your own production and many other things. We call it industrial tourism. Well, what can Russia offer to visitors today in terms of industrial tourism? All 85 regions of Russia can offer something, and every region is a little state with its features, specifics, and interesting features, as well as tourist industrial destinations. Today, you can be offered quite a wide range and interesting products to visit industrial facilities. Over 500 facilities today are proudly showing and telling about what they do, what they make, and what kind of produce they manufacture. And industrial tourism today is a good thing to meet business and leisure, to come to Russia with business opportunities, to learn about production facilities, to know about technology, investment, on partnership potential, and following that, you can have a chance to go to Russia and see regions and opportunities for leisure and tourism that are available, nature, architecture, and culture. A few words about why the Agency for Strategic Initiatives has been doing industrial tourism and what kind of support we can offer. Please be reminded that the Agency for Strategic Initiatives is an office set up by government and the President of Russia 7 years ago to support entrepreneurs and initiatives. The brightest, the most potential entrepreneur initiatives earmarked for improvement of production and lifestyle. They are all backed by us. And a year ago, our partner, Sergei Ryzhov, alongside with the agency team and experts from the Ministry of Industry and Trade of Russia, Russian Agency for Tourism, Russian Quality Agency, we have together developed a methodology to develop industrial tourism. So this is a technology document that allows all enterprises to have similar standards, paying attention on safety first, and tell you about how to organize the guided tour in the best way. So we are helping in this, and the companies can shape a lucrative tourist product both for Russians and foreign visitors. Those 500 enterprises that I mentioned before are those who have organized and provided guidelines for such visiting solutions, giving you a chance and assurance that you can be offered at the enterprise. What kind of industries are available today for excursions? What industries today are offering guided tours? Here in the slide, you can see food industry, agriculture, and this could be high-tech, precision processes, and pretty large manufacturings, as well as low, small type family companies or, little confectionaries or whatever, who produce an interesting local stuff, not just produce, but telling you about the trade secrets, know-how, traditions, local produce that these products are made of, that allows visitors to really indulge or dive deeper into such food specifics of Russia and to better understand Russian mindset and Russian specifics and Russian soul by the taste. Light industry, machine engineering, electronics, IT. Special focus is on a few solutions that I believe are pretty big and maybe interesting for the Indian side. Very actively and transparency for tourist products creation are coal miners. This is coal production and coal processing. Coal concentration factories can show to you the entire process, which is key for partner projects. And at that time, we can transfer a guided tour into big shows with a demonstration of huge coal mining pits, production excavators, onboarding as coal miners, but safety first. Nuclear power plants, one of the most sensitive and closed. Today, a few Russian nuclear power plants, for instance in Kursk district, are ready to show their environmental friendliness and technology edge, as well as high-quality processes to ensure security, safety, and high level of social security, as well as environment. There is a number of lines of activities like folk arts. Our colleagues will deliver more about that. This is an amazing world of Russian traditions, culture, and that allows you not just to take a look at what something is created and to try it with your own hands and to talk to people, to craftsmen who just convey that message from ancient times and to transform it into modern design and modern desires of the Russians. And now, colleagues, I would like to say a few words. For whom is that industrial tourism earmarked? What kind of tourists could come to Russia to visit industrial enterprises? Who can be the most interested parties? And for whom are these products shaped? I would like to give a floor to Sergei Ryzhov, my co-host, who is the product developer as well, and he would be telling you in more detail what are the offers from the Russian regions to foreign tourists. Sergei, over to you. Hello, friends and colleagues. I expect that you can hear and see me well. I'm happy to welcome our foreign partners at this presentation, and I'm sure that after this, you will, we as the Russian side, would not only get positive feedback for our industrial tourism, but we will be able to find partners to develop this line of activities between our states. As Olga has rightly mentioned, alongside with her, we developed a methodology to move regional development of Russia, to organize on a daily basis new excursions and guided tours to various industries enterprises of the country. At the moment, for the foreign market, we have systematized a few products, and by designing an industrial tour, an enterprise is focusing and ticking the box whether it is ready to receive international tourists based on its safety system and security as well, and which shops are open for visitors, what could be shown to visitors, and there is a separate line of centers of excellence in regions of Russia to be hubs in the future to make a link with you and to send over to you possible best practices and ways to share it. The first point I would like to mention today is students exchanged at industrial enterprises. Indeed, during the events that are ensured by BRICS Union in Russia and your country, we hold youth forums, and that work could also include visiting by students of Russian enterprises. For those who are interested in watching how technology works, how industrial or educational systems work, there are Welcome Weekend Day regional programs that can give you a several-day outlook on Russia's education, Russian enterprises. On top, you can take a look at certain urban developments, and you can visit certain milestones or events in the region. As Olga has said, today we have pinpointed the most popular and active lines of Russian businesses. Today, we are interested in making this a system for end users, for international users, of course, to make a system and to give you special areas and best enterprises that you can visit in Russia. The second group is business teams to share best practices. In Russia today, there are formal business missions, and we have more and more business events and visits of industrial enterprises to look deeper into specialist knowledge. Our regional centers of excellence are actively developing, and we have topics for lean manufacturing standards, effective supply chain, non tangible motivation, IT technologies, smaller and medium enterprises, experts, and that goes without saying that we're talking about products and technologies that may be interesting for you when visiting companies, and products that could be interesting for you. Under the exchange of best practices, there are some added values like a chance to take a look not only at the enterprise itself, but to have a round table to consider the topic of the industry, to have a strategic session with business coaches, and altogether to organize further reference visits. The second component is professional purchasers. Here, we employ specialist organizations like Business Russia, non-for-profit, Опора России, Chamber of Commerce and Industry, expert centers and clubs of Russia that are ready to take international delegations and to discuss exchange of trade and goods, thereby making a chain of regions to visit and a few enterprises to be visited, which products are interesting for you. And the third component for business teams is investment tours. Russia today is a country that is interesting for joint ventures and shared projects. All regions nearly have special economic zones, each of which is ready to take investors to expand production capacity and set up dedicated production facilities to show why it could be of value for potential investors. We also have a great number of technoparks where the line looks like that. You arrive in the region, you visit centers of excellences or research institutes that are strong in that region, and based on a technopark, together with the Russian side or separately, you could set up your own line of activities to maintain economy and to produce something new. And the product line, of course, has a big number of tourist products where a group could arrive, like it could be individual groups or combined groups. There could be students or mice people or an incentive event. You could visit a region, go sightseeing, and altogether to visit an enterprise. Let me see how it works. Okay, let's speak about technology of booking and applying for a tour, and what do you have to know when you book an industrial tour. Russia is a country of vast territories, and one of the travel hubs and logistical hubs is the capital city of the Soviet Union, which is Moscow. And the regions that are to be presented today are located closer to international hubs. And the first thing that you have to start is to study and to ask for information about a destination for an industrial company, and we have to apply local destination management companies an itinerary which would be good for you. Industrial enterprises, as I said, have actively developed their own itineraries using our methodology, but international tourists is a special event and is regarded individually by many companies. There are no questions in the most cases, but we all know that visiting an enterprise, both tourists and the company should know health, safety, and environmental techniques. Security agencies of the company should find out the real intentions of the group, and there are also criteria for safe passage across the company by number of groups and by number of people in a group. So we recommend you, if you plan this industrial tourism visit, please do it in advance, at least 30 days or 1 month before the tour starts. This is a time enough for us to agree upon certain specifics with the region, for a region to be able to receive you at a decent level and organize all the logistics in a good way, to visit a company and add natural historic destinations to your itinerary that would be suitable. Every region, depending on the application, would have a dedicated person to receive a group. Every group is accompanied by professional guides, logistical people, as well as a certain color and taste of the region that you're going to visit. At the moment, to be able to visit a business tour or a just leisure tour to visit a few regions, there is a project office of the Agency for Strategic Initiatives, represented by Olga, in order to keep the strategy and unite it under the umbrella to go international. I can tell you that today we are making a Russian language map of tours so far, but next year the plan is to translate it into English, to provide more value to our international partners, and you in particular to be able to log on to the map and to see the enterprises in a certain Russian region to be interesting for you. For selection and developing an itinerary of your tour. Here on the slide, you can see contact details of Olga Shandurenko from the Agency of Strategic Initiatives. You can talk to her about the general line of that activity. I can see between Russia and India to plan at least student tours for the next year under the BRICS platform and to share best practices for students in industrial tourism. Today, the methodology that has been developed by Russia has a certain success and is demanded for sharing best practices with other countries. And owing to that, if your country, you're a very actively developing country, and your economic is growing fast, if you have a wish to set up a platform to exchange best practices or any reference visits, round tables on that topic. So please welcome to Ask Olga Shandurenko. And I hope that following my presentation, the regions will say their words, and you will certainly have a wish to have dedicated projects. And following the pandemic, when online would transfer into offline, to send business groups, both for business events and industrial enterprises. And Russia and India have mutual interest to maintain tourist streams. Every tourist will be able to see not only Russia's milestones but industrial potential. And now I would like to give a floor to a regional representative, but first to Olga Shandurenko, head of the Industrial Project Office of the Agency for Strategic Initiatives, ASI. Thank you, Sergey. Olga speaking. And as Sergey has mentioned, I would like that our industrial event today would not be just a superficial acknowledgement, but a platform for sharing best practices, because we're also interested in how that industry develops in India, which enterprises of Hindustan are open. How did you arrive to that product for tourism? The next year we have a plan by our agency to organize major international fora to share best practices, and I think that going forward and supported by today's event organizer, we would be able to share best practices on how we could, participate in sharing best practices with you. But at the same time, let's not forget that despite all importance and effectiveness for industrial business, tourism for business development, this is of course is very bright emotions. And up to modern tourists today, irrespective of their origin or nationality, want to take bright emotions from their travel and new skills and knowledge to spread the word, what they learned and what they saw. Therefore, if you're really interested to see how molten metal is casted and this bright, sparkling river of metal, which is now then turned into huge industrial items, pipes, rails. This is a chance to come to Russia to see it. If you have never heard that you can make a soup of oil, crude oil, you have to come to the heart of Siberia, to the city of Tyumen, where the local refinery would not only tell you and show you about oil processing, but would give you to taste this gastronomic specialty. And if you are ready for gastronomic experiments, the northern berries and the jams, they have so much vitamins, because this jam is made by ancient recipes. You can do something with your own hands. You can learn how these enterprises work, and you can be amazed by those large distances. Like Yakutia is one of the Russian regions. By area, it is equal to Argentina. And you can see how roads were made across permafrost, thousands of kilometers of boreal forest to produce diamonds, gold, crude oil, and what kind of unique and beautiful, warm warmth of the region are taken that would be a good reminiscence of your visit to Russia. And now I am giving the floor to Sergei Agudin, head of the Vladimir Region Tourism Committee. This is a wonderful region located not far from Moscow, and this is the region, the territory where Russia came into being, and Russian industry too. But Sergey will provide you with more details.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Good afternoon. I'm really happy to see everyone at the Russian Expo Days India, and I'm happy to open a series of presentations showing the tourism potential of our regions. And to start, I would like to ask you to launch a small video showing our region. The land on which the history of Russia was born, unique natural landscapes, people that have created culture and traditions for centuries, the heart of Central Russia. Excellent geographic location, high-speed trains, a comfortable living environment, opportunities for professionals training, high educational standards. A new Silk Route, exports of products to 110 countries of the world. Within 5 years, 390 billion rubles of investment was attracted to Russia. The cities of Russia: Vladimir, Kovrov, Murom, the largest companies in Russia in the pharmaceutical, chemical, machine engineering and oil and gas sectors. The Vladimir region, a territory of confident development. Thank you. I would like to start my story about our region with its convenient geographic location. It's located next to Moscow, just 1 hour 40 minutes of going by high-speed train, and there are many trains going from Moscow to Vladimir and the Vladimir region every day. In our territory, there are about 3,500 cultural monuments. We also have 8 objects that are part of the UNESCO World Heritage List. We have more than 40 museums that are offered for visit by our guests from the entire Russia and all countries of the world. The Vladimir region today is about unique ancient cities, unique history and culture, and unique nature. Our ancient cities, like the city of Suzdal, will celebrate its 1000th anniversary in 2024. Grokhovets turned 880 years 2 years ago. Murom, the homeland of the great Russian fable hero Murom, it's also the city of Alexandrov, and many other historical cities that are willing to welcome international tourists. Today, our region hosts 350 events per year. Every day, or almost every day, there is an event hosted by the region, and Vladimir and Suzdal are part of the famous Golden Ring of Russia. Our region is rich with traditional folk crafts. We show those folk crafts as part of the program for development of industrial tourism in the region. It's the lacquer miniature workshop, the Guseva glass, the clay toys produced in the Korov city. It's the Suzdal ceramics in the city of Suzdal, the Koroviev ceramics in the city of Melenke in the Vladimir region. We also show the folk crafts, and we hold tours and excursions in museums dedicated to folk crafts. We do master classes where tourists can make a traditional folk item or a souvenir with their own hands. The Vladimir region is also rich with metals, and it has traditions of artistic processing of metals. It is also famous for gastronomy and delicacies. For example, there is the Murom kalach, a kind of special bread, and you can actually visit a factory, a bakery for those kolaches, and you can taste this product based on traditional Russian bread. And there is another brand, the Suzdal cucumber, which is traditionally eaten with honey in Russia. And we invite you to our vegetable gardens so that our guests could taste a fresh cucumber with fresh honey. And of course, our cucumbers can be tasted in our restaurants. We also have the Suzdal Honey Festival, and there is a special hall where you can taste honey and mead, and there is a program about Russian traditional honey culture, and guests can taste different honey drinks or meads. We also have excursions where gingerbread, Russian gingerbread items are produced and decorated, and every tourist can try this with their own hands. Along with the traditions, the Vladimir region is also about industrial development and modern industries. We also have the World Skills Championship, and in 2020 our region's governor signed an agreement with the Agency for Strategic Initiatives to develop industrial tourism in the region. I'd like to add that our good geographical location allows us to develop MICE tourism in our special economic zones. We have a special economic zone in one of our cities which welcomes tourists, and we also have 5 industrial parks where we can arrange business missions for our partners from different countries, including India. Of course, we invite you to visit the Vladimir region. I can tell you for hours about our traditions, our folk products and production, but it's one thing to hear this and it's another thing to come here and see our traditions and sites with your own eyes, which is why we invite all our guests to the Vladimir region, so that you can visit industrial sites, do master classes, and take away souvenirs produced with your own hands. Thank you. That's the end of my slides, and you can see the contact details of our Tourism Information Center. And you can see it on this slide and on our exposition website. Olga, the floor is yours. Olga speaking. Thank you, Sergey. Dear friends, and now we move on to another region, to the east of Moscow to the Tula region. There is one famous Russian writer, Leskov, who wrote in the 19th century, and he wrote a wonderful story about a famous blacksmith from the Tula region who shot a tiny flea. He made shoes for this flea as if they were a horse's shoes. So actually Russian writers promoted industrial tourism in the Tula region back in the 19th century. And now my colleague Elena Martinova, deputy head of the tourism committee in the Tula region, will tell us more about it. The floor is yours. Dear colleagues, once again we can reconfirm that it's better to see once than to hear 100 times. Online communication is a great opportunity, but we've had small technical issues, which is why right now we move on to the banks of the great Russian river Volga. I think you have heard about it. And we have this wonderful Samara region. And once again we give the floor to Sergei Ryzhov, not as a methodology developer this time, but as a person who lives right in this land in the Samara region, and this is where he started developing industrial tourism, and he will tell us about the results right now. Sergei, the floor is yours. Sergei speaking. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Good afternoon once again. Can you hear me? Good. While our slides are being loaded on the screen, I would like to tell you a bit about the place where we are located, the Samara region. It's the territory which looks like a heart on a map. And this is why our region is also called the heart of Russia. It's also because of the geographic location. We are in the central part of Russia. And our region also has the outlines of a heart on a map. And we are also very hospitable people. We are kind, we provide this unique, hospitable atmosphere. So this is also why we are called the heart of Russia. I will tell you a bit more about the sites of the region, and on the 11th of December we will have a big tourist presentation to which I have the pleasure of inviting you. And now we'll tell you more about the products of industrial tourism in the Samara region. Now I will go back to slide 1. The geographical position in the middle of Russia, in the heart of Russia. It's only 1.5 hours of flight from Moscow. This is why when you plan business events or MICE events, our regions are very close together, and there are some meetings done in the capital of Russia, and then the organizers move on to the banks of the Volga River to organize some business missions. Our second good logistics feature is a comfortable transport hub. We have the Kuybuyshev Railway, we have 2 luxury trains coming from Moscow, and we have convenient connections with other regions, because today we talked about industrial tourism as an opportunity to get a holistic picture of the region. So, what industries are presented in our region today? In terms of their historical components, the Samara region is a major industrial center. Within the last 50 years, industry has developed a lot in the region. It started developing during World War II, when the aerospace, aviation industry, the transport industry was moved to the Samara region, because Samara region was the reserve or the backup capital of the country. And today you can see a lot of industrial sectors which are highly developed and which are the backbone of the region's development. This means that these industries are well presented in the region and that our region is ready to present them actively for business missions, for delegations, for tourist groups, and for experience exchange. Now I would like to show you a few companies of which we are proud and which are ready and have the experience of welcoming foreign tourists. This is AvtoVAZ, of course, the Russian automobile company, which until recently manufactured Chevrolet Niva car, and right now it continued to develop its automobile manufacturing, and it produces a lot of car components. There is also Tolyatti, the second largest city in our region after Samara, which is a center for production of automotive parts and components. Pegas Agro is a company located in our region and manufacturing agricultural equipment. It is of great interest in terms of exchanging experience and developing the agricultural sector as a whole, because our colleagues not only produce excellent equipment ready for exports, but they also master several agricultural niches, and you can also have some additional events such as visiting agricultural manufacturing sites. You can also have a tour around our agricultural fields and see how our agricultural crops are produced. There is also the company Stroy Far4. Today, this is a factory which works in two areas. On the one hand, it produces different equipment for water pipes, different sinks, toilets, and other sanitary and water pipe technology. This is a company which has up-to-date technology, and today it occupies 10% of the entire Russian market for sanitary and toilet equipment. The second area is producing ceramic tiles and granite tiles. This company uses a lot of robots, and the whole manufacturing cycle is automated. There are also special centers of competence here. This company works actively with business missions, with ordinary tourists, with local school children and university students. As part of one of international forums, you can see on the screen a visit to the Tolyatti caoutchouc plant. This is a factory which produces different chemical products. Every year it continues to develop and opens new departments. Tolyatti has a big industrial zone with petrochemical and chemical plants and factories, and each of those factories has the possibilities to exchange experience, and you can visit those factories. The transport sector. We have two parts here. First of all, you can visit our metro, our subway, in order to look at the depots and the stations. And secondly, we have an operational locomotive depot of Russian railways. All in all, in Russia, there are 5 such depots. In this depot, you can get familiarized with the rolling stock and with the technological processes of this complex manufacturing company. Furthermore, we have the Kuybyshev railway in this region. It's a major transport hub, and the specialists working there are also ready to welcome tourists and to exchange experience. And furthermore, we have the food industry. We have already welcomed several international companies who saw our bakeries. There are lots of bakeries in the Samara region because of our historical features. Because even before 1917, even before the Russian Revolution, Samara was considered to be a major bakery and bread baking center. This is where a lot of wheat was gathered, and this is the city which sent wheat for exports. This is why we have a lot of experience in the bakery industry. And in our region there are a dozen of bakeries, starting from big bread baking plants and finishing with small bakeries that can also exchange experience in this area. And of course, bakeries and bread factories also produce different baking products such as pies, sweet cakes, and so on. Danone Company is a major dairy manufacturer in the world. It has a branch in the Samara region, and visiting this factory shows you the whole production chain for the dairy sector. I would also like to add that we have other dairy plants, and depending on the requirements, we find the possibilities. To continue talking on the food industry, we also have brewery manufacturing. On top of this screen, you can see one of the oldest breweries in Samara and Russia. This is the Zhigulovsky brewery. It has a bit more than 140 years, and it was built as part of an investment product or investment project by an Austrian citizen, Alfred Banvakan, and today this is still a brewery which produces beer and brewery products in Russia. Russian people like beer, they drink beer, and people say that the Zhigulovsky beer is the most popular beer that was produced in the Soviet Union. Even now, Zhigulovsky Brewery is a major local brand, and Zhigulovsky Brewery is the place where Zhigulovsky beer was first produced. And you have an opportunity to get familiarized with the technological processes and to see how this interesting drink is produced, and you can also taste this beer. Today, the Samara region has about 60 breweries. Around 10 of them organize visits, including the Baltica brewery, We also have some private and craftsman breweries. Depending on your requirements, we choose the brewery which is convenient for us in terms of logistics. We also have the Nectar firm, which produces juices. Why is this production unique? They have a complete process, a complete production cycle, starting from producing the raw materials. They have their own wonderful gardens. They have apple gardens, and you can visit them as well. You can see how the fruits grow in those gardens. And then you can visit the factory where juice is produced and packaged. Last year, the company received a lot of investment and it improved its packaging technology with the company Tetra Pak. There are also winter excursions. You can see some greenhouses where lettuces, cucumbers, and tomatoes are growing. You can see a lot of vegetables growing in those greenhouses. And right now, I still have 3 or 5 minutes left, so I would like to show you what else we can do when visiting industrial sites in our region. This is what our embankment of the Volga River looks like. You can see that this is a beach zone in the center of the city. And of course, the Volga River is very important for our city. You can sunbathe in the beach. You can have a trip along the Volga River. You can work here. You can do business here. When talking about business tours, we also have some
We
cultural
have,
events.
yeah, this is the Samara Opera and Ballet Theater, our drama theater, and you can take a look at our culture, at our regional culture. Nearly all may be interested by the visiting of a real space rocket that is deployed in the central part of our city. It has a museum inside called Samara the Cosmic, and based on it, we are telling about the space industry of our region, and you can take fantastic pictures, selfies with the rocket at your back. And there was one youth BRICS delegation arriving into Samara region, and one of the best pictures were taken here. I recall the tourists and Indian tourists were impressed by the object. Joseph Stalin's bunker, the deepest of today's existing unsensitive facilities in Russia, 37 meters deep. It's a unique facility developed during World War II because Samara was the backup capital of the Soviet Union, and many embassies relocated to Samara. And certainly this is motorboat trips along the Volga. We have over a dozen of such jet boats for tourist teams. And the second thing, which is very attractive, is yachting in Zhigulovskaya Sea. This is our reservoir on the Volga River, where you can take a chance to master class on yachting, and I'm sure you will fall in love with that energy, with the Zhiguli Mountains, and you will not only visit the industrial enterprises, but also the national park. This is a natural reserve, in the heart of our land, from where you can see wonderful aspect, and this nature inspires all. And I would like to thank you for your attention. And I'm sure that we would have joint business cooperation for business for individual visitors, and we will certainly meet on the Strategic Committee on Industrial Tourism and sharing best practices between our countries. Thank you for your attention, Dhanyavad, and over to my colleagues. Um, Olga speaking. Thank you, Sergey. And now I would like to give a floor to the Deputy Chief of Tula Region Tourist Development, Larissa Solomatina. The region was already advertised, and you look forward to visiting it, I'm sure. So, Larissa. Larissa speaking. Hello, can you hear me now? Cool. I'm welcoming you all, my dear colleagues, to tell you about the Tula region potential that is waiting for industrial tourists. First of all, we have a very good location. As Olga said, we are very close to Moscow, on a railroad track and a motor road. It is just a couple of hours from us to Moscow or back. We have a direct railroad not to Moscow only, but with another lucrative center, St. Petersburg. And we are ready to have, how to say, inter-regional routes with other regions to offer complex programs. We are a young Russian tourist destination, but we have been actively developing. Last year, we received over 1 million tourists, and in the last 3 years, the number of tourists that visit us has been growing by 20% annually. We have a good industrial and cultural heritage, so industrial tourism is one of our priorities. This is stated in our regional tourism strategy beyond 2025. Historically speaking, the Tula region was a smithery of Russian armory, chemical, food industry. Today, the plan is to organize. Sorry, today we have many locations that are open for tourists and are going to open. The major form of industrial tourism is industrial tours. And first of all, I'm going to mention food processing industries that look forward to receiving visitors. We are ready to show you the traditional Tula pryanik or gingerbread and Belov marshmallow. There is a legend that a Tula gingerbread is only valid if produced in Tula and has a secret Tula air ingredient. And when you come to us, you will be able to see it. You will have a chance to bake a Tula gingerbread yourself. Another traditional Tula project is the Belov marshmallow. This is a unique food made of apples and eggs, and you can see how it is produced at a larger scale. You can make it yourself and taste it. Speaking about guided tours, I would like to mention two other things, two other museums important for industrial tourism. First is the Tula State Weapons Museum, one of the oldest in Russia. It started to collect weapons back in 1724 when the Tula weaponry plant, as instructed by Russian Tsar Peter the Great, they began collecting weapons instead of melting it into other weapons. Today, the Tula State Weapons Museum has a rich weapons collection, but also this is one of the up-to-date multimedia interactive Russian museums. It can receive a big number of visitors all year round. This year we have, we have foreign-speaking guides, and as long as the pandemic is over, we are ready to take tourists from Hindustan. Another interesting museum is a machine tool museum based on the Octava industrial hub. This is an iconic Octava enterprise that produces microphones, and it produced the microphone on a spaceship where Gagarin was using during the first maiden space flight. And you can see various types of machinery and machine tools there, as it derives from its name. But on the other side, you can take another look at the entire Russian history through its industry. Foreign visitors have a route called Tula, is the arsenal and shield of Russia, to visit not only the weapons museum that I mentioned, but also the birthplace of Leo Tolstoy, Yasnaya Polyana, the Kulikova field, the first battlefield of Russia, and the Tula Kremlin weaponry that is going to. The Tula Kremlin has never surrendered to any enemy for 500 years. The Tula waterfront has been improved significantly of late. And if you have a chance to visit Tula, to come visiting the industrial enterprises, please take a walk along the Tula embankment, because it was newly developed, and the Metallistov Street will feature affiliates of 4 federal museums as well as cafes and hotels. Visiting the Tula Arsenal and Shield of Russia program, you may have an interactive dialogue in many formats. The Citadel shooting facility, you may have a chance to shoot hunting weapons. You can go to the Patriot Park to look at combat weapons and act as a smith in a smithery. Many industrial enterprises of the Tula region are a shop window for not only Tula but Russia. They are open not only for industrial but investment opportunities as well, and they receive tourists. You can see examples on that slide. This is Shokina nitrogen processing plant, a major chemical enterprise with a number of up-to-date equipment and experts contracts. They would be happy to receive you, to show you the modern technology of production, and to discuss possible exports. Another milestone is Tula Chermet, ferrous metal steel mill. If you want to see molten metal, you have to come to a steel mill, Tula Chermet. Up until recently, it has been one of the largest cast iron exporter in Russia. And recently it opened up the steel branch to supply not only cast iron but steel, developing modern technologies. Another company which is a good exporter is Baikal Microphones. This company is based on the Octava microphone producer, and now it manufactures high-end microphones, very up-to-date, full-featured, with good marketing, and the results are there. Those mics are used by Coldplay and Radiohead bands. What is also worth mentioning is that there is Uzlovaya special economic zone in Tula region. It is offering very lucrative conditions for its residents, and over 10 years of time, The residents are free of any property or transport tax and for land use and tax for 5 years. We would be happy to see Indian colleagues at enterprises that are already located at Uzlavaya, a special economic zone, and we would be ready to offer any production opportunities. You can combine this visit to the special economic zone with a visit to another sightseeing place in Tula, which is the specially protected reserve Romancev Mountains. This year it's very topical to visit because the pandemic is a sad event and we want to be on another planet, but we have a chance to do it not far from Moscow because Mars landscapes at X pits are waiting for you. But if we continue about Uzlavaya Special Economic Zone, I can show you residents operating there. Those companies receive international tourists and open for cooperation. The main resident is Havel automotive plant. Very interesting in terms of production of motor cars. There is another agri-grib food processing plant to grow button mushrooms to an industrial scale. Engels Spetstrubmash, a unique producer of crude oil grade piping, and other residents are also shown on the slide. They will be happy to share their practices of how they work at Uzlavaya and will tell you the specifics. We are ready to receive group or individual tourists. These are my contact details. We would customize any itineraries for your application or demand, and we would be happy to show you around the Tula region. So please come to visit us and welcome. Well, distinguished friends, thanks Yelena, you now know about Tula region, and now we are going hundreds of kilometers away, flying over the Volga and Siberia and the Urals mountains, and now we are in the very farthest east of Russia. Sergei, when speaking about Samara, he mentioned a rocket, which is a monument in the center city of Samara and was already in demand by Indian tourists. You probably have it in your social networks, but now let's get back to the Amur region to tell us a wonderful trip to an unforgettable place that everyone can dream of, to visit a real cosmodrome or a spaceport. But not only but many other things, because the Amur region is a unique place, and Yekaterina is coming soon, but the Amur region travel was number one for children industrial tourism programs, and Yekaterina will be telling you about the opportunities provided by the Amur region for your tourists of any age. So Yekaterina Kireeva, Deputy Minister of Foreign Economic Relations, Tourism and Entrepreneurship of the Amur region. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Hello, and I would like to welcome you to that conference. Olga has voiced up a wonderful news, and this is really because we live in the right place. The city of Blagoveshchensk is and center of the Amur region is named after a good news. literally in Russian, and we're happy that our company was selected number one for children industrial tourism. But back to our topic. Distinguished colleagues, I would like to welcome you and say hello, but when I start developing the topic, I am extending my great thanks to all our Indian partners, the participants of the day of that exhibition. We have already made a few meetings. Today we had a big event and set of presentations, and we have very good feedback from you. And I can assure you, dear Indian partners, we will be ready to answer your questions and give you whatever you want. We get a lot of questions for investments in industry, economics, and it looks like today's round-the-table topic is very relevant. What I would like to tell you, yes, let's switch a little bit and to make a trip from west of Russia, very developed, very dense in population, to another place, to the far east of Russia. And it is rightfully so that the far east of Russia is an interesting place because it accounts for 40% of the entire territory of our country. And this is really an amazing Asian part of it, and Amur region is a big place. Why? Why us are telling you a story about industrial tourism? Tourism in our oblast or region is industrial too, and there is certain logic behind it. And speaking about today's terms and giving previous speakers, we have all the stars in one place. Not just we have a spaceport that Olga mentioned, but there are another set of major projects being developed today or already operational. But we would not give you industrial, we will not to be industrial only. We want you, dear Indian brothers, by showing you industrial tours, to show you some philosophy and our attitude to the situation. We want to show to you that even alongside with major industrial projects in the Russian region, we can have a harmony between a human being and nature that is the basis of all today. Therefore, we have three major topics for discussion, and we will make a customized approach for you on every of which. This is outer space, energy, and nature in connection. What is Amur Oblast or Amur region? Just a few facts and figures for you. What is our location in Russia and in the world? As said before, we are not the biggest region of our amazing country and the Far East too, but by area we are comparable to Japan or Germany. But our density of population is very low, and this thing, as well as the fact that we are covered by forests. 60% of the area is forest, and we have more than 30 natural reserves, which is 10% of our territory. So we have a place not only for major industrial facilities, but for environmental things, which is ecotourism. We have a good balance of climate. We have good north and the south of agricultural lands and major urban areas with very well developed infrastructure for visitors. Another specifics of us is the borderline with People's Republic of China. And our center that I mentioned, Blagoveshchensk city, a good news city, is an amazing city located on the borderline. And every day when I go to work, I can see Chinese colleagues, administrative buildings that are working across the river. For you to know how far or not far we are, just 750 meters across the river. The Blagoveshchensk city was a closed city or sensitive town up until the late 80s. But what I want to tell you in terms of our connections, this is a big deal, and we get many questions on that. And during the first session today, during the Amur region presentation in the morning, I would say that we have a good location. Yes, we are far away from Moscow, but we have good connection with major Russian cities, direct flights, or you can go by Asian hubs, China, Japan, and others. What are major economic facts and figures for you, dear colleagues, to have a full impression of our economic situation and our opportunities that we offer? This is energy. Hydraulic power plants. It's number one in the far east of Russia. It's a very rich natural treasure that are actively exploited in a good way. Top three in the country. This is agricultural industry actively developing, spaceport or cosmodrome as we call it in Russian, logistics, business and tourist logistics, as well as a gas pipeline, the biggest European gas processing facility being built, as well as the natural gas chemical facility which is going to be built. And we are among top Russian forest harvesting regions. Speaking about major things that I mentioned before, let us begin with outer space. As was rightly mentioned, Samara is our partner, is production of high-end, high-tech equipment, but we're launching those rockets from our space center. There was a popular question: how many cosmodromes are in Russia and what are they special? Answer: we don't have many spaceports in Russia because it's an individual thing, but we're using a few. There are two cosmodromes in Russia. One is civil, one is military, and Vostochny Cosmodrome, which we have in our region, is a civilian one, and it's the most up-to-date spaceport in this country. It is being built, but still it is already operational, and you can take a mobile launching tower, and being at the Cosmodrome, and it's a huge town, I would say, just 200 kilometers away from the Blagoveshchensk capital, you will know that this is the youngest and high-end Cosmodrome would be launching Russian space vehicles to the moon, and the first crew will be launching in 2025. Another thing which is interesting in terms of itinerary in Amur region is energy, represented by three hydro dams, each being unique. Zeya Dam has the highest, is the highest. It's in the north of our region. Bureyskaya Dam is to the south. Bureyskaya Dam is the most powerful. But Nizhnebureyskaya is the most beautiful one and full-featured. I would like to say that both cosmodromes and HPPs, they are sensitive facilities, and we have to apply in advance because it is legal requirements. Well, we need to take into account the time that you have to apply in advance. Please take also the fact that there are some authorized tour operators who could organize that, but it's possible because those facilities have already been visited by international tourists and cosmodrome and hydraulic dam. Well, there are a few options, just acquaintance tours or photo options or whatever. The most important thing is that there's some trained employees who can speak English and will tell you about the entire specifics of such technical facilities. Next line of activities is agriculture, and this is soil, and this is whatever is ready for a human being to do using technologies. And why Amur region? Why it is so developed? I have already mentioned our unique location, and we have a good latitude, and we have permafrost in the north of our region. We have very, fertile soils and 300 sunny days per year. We can grow all kind of things, and we even have apricots or grapes. We have lots of options, despite that we are a forestry.
Also on this slide, you can see the most important features. You can see that we have a lot of agricultural land. We have different options for product delivery. But now I would like to tell you about three specific plants that we take pride in and that are ready to welcome different target groups, including business groups and tourist groups. First of all, this is our beautiful oil extraction plant, Soya A&K. This is a young team which understands very well how to service international partners, and we take pride in the fact that this year they won a very prestigious award, Breakthrough of the Year, in the nomination Exporter of the Year. Our next company is Taiga Organica. The name speaks for itself. For most part, this company is specialized in producing and exporting high-quality Amur honey. This company is special because just a couple of years ago, the Russian President Vladimir Putin tasted this honey and said that it was delicious. This is the best advertising for us, and we are very proud of that. Our next company is a research institute. This is the only Russian research institute of soybeans, and it has a lot of experience in developing new kinds of soybeans, and it has labs which prepares new recipes and dishes of soya. The Amur region is a unique region which produces almost half of Russian soybeans. And this means that we are really focused on this crop, and we have a lot of things to tell our guests and tourists. A few words about a tour around the Amur region. This is a constructed tour, a combined tour. Its core is industrial sites, of course, but you can complement this tour with a lot of different features. Those industrial plants and the Russian cosmodrome and the water power plants are the core of our program, but you can also visit the Russian traditional visit and see some agro-tourism. You can also take part in our events. You can even go to China if you are interested. And of course, dear friends, you will also be able to find harmony with nature by visiting our three unique nature reserves. I will talk briefly about them. The Zeysky Nature Reserve is in the north of our region. It's in taiga and there is tundra. It's beautiful, it's been alone with nature. We also have the Norsky Nature Reserve. This is the only nature reserve which is located in this area and has unique animals. Its symbol is the Siberian roe deer, and roe deers can be seen as they migrate in this area, and you can also visit the cosmodrome and the water power plant. We also have the Hingan Nature Reserve, which is very convenient for visiting, and there is a lot of research tourism or children's tourism. You can enjoy the birds, you can participate in different events, and all our nature reserves are open for visits, and they can be different programs from 1 to several days depending on the desires of our tourists. We also have the Nature Park Zeya, or a nature conservation area. After visiting the Space Center, the Cosmodrome, you can go to the Zeya Nature Conservation Area. You can do some fishing there, you can contact animals, and then you can go back to Blagoveshensky where you can visit your tour. What in particular can you do? Of course, this is our beautiful Ivan tea, which is well known by the partners, and we already sent this tea to Japan. And we also have unique products such as the Asnia lichen, which only grows in our taiga, and we have great medical products or food products from this type of lichen. And we can also guarantee that as you do this combined tour, you always have an opportunity to take the food that is adapted to the taste of Indian tourists. We have the possibility to cook both Russian and Asian and European cuisine, and we will also have restaurants with Indian cuisine. I can tell you a lot about industrial tourism, but this is my brief summary. Today, in our Expo days, we focus on the Amur region as a region for industrial tourism. We talk a lot about ecotourism as well, and we actually have tours for every taste, for all the categories. We have family packages, children's packages. We have interesting programs for every age. You can visit industrial sites, but these tours are also complemented with other interesting things, such as city tours, special events, and so on. You should not be afraid of the language barrier because we have employees speaking in different languages. We have a lot of experience and we will provide you with English speaking guides. We also think a lot about safety and we know how to work with our international partners because we are next to the border with another country and we also have major industrial sites and we cooperate with 30 countries of the world. We work a lot with international partners. This is why I invite you to visit our hospitable region, and we believe that industrial tourism can be the platform or the launch pad which will help us know each other better. Thank you very much, and I am happy to accompany all your projects and be in personal contact with you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ekaterina. Dear friends, I think that you were able to feel or to get a feeling of what our regions offer, to understand how industrial tourism can be of interest to you. Maybe you already have plans for your business partners, for developing your own business or maybe for personal or family travel. Please come to Russia with the purpose of having some industrial tourism and please be ready to offer together with us events and tours in order to see how we create different kinds of products of the best quality. Please be welcome to exchange experience, to talk to our people, to get familiarized with our technologies, and I hope you will become our partners and maybe you will be inspired by the examples of those who do their business in the area of special economic zones and technological parks of Russia. So you can start your projects in Russia. It will be interesting and convenient and beneficial to work here. So come here to get some inspiration and invite here everyone who is interested in art and design because the industrial landscapes of Russian regions are very interesting. And furthermore, many industrial sites become today a center for street art, for modern art. And we have examples that we will show you with great pleasure during our next days. This is the Kursk region, or Kursk region, the Nizhny Novgorod region. So let's work together with designers. Let's try to create something with our own hands. Let's find out the secrets of the jewelry masters of Yakutia who seek some very interesting ancient sacred sciences, master blacksmith skills, study more than 100 of Russian national and ethnic crafts. Bring your students here. When students choose a university or a college, it's very important to understand the country in which the university is located. We have a lot of regions, the Amur region, St. Petersburg, Moscow, Samara and Kaliningrad, that offer amazing programs for students. And that can be a basis for getting education, for training, or student exchange, or academic research. And of course, bring your families, bring your children, show your children how hundreds, thousands, and millions of different products are produced in Russia, how the Russian metro works, how Russian rockets fly, and how gingerbread is baked. And I think that whereas we are having an online event, it gives its own possibilities. The pandemic will pass away. I hope that it will end soon, and we will use this time to find and package new amazing offers for you for every target audience. And you will spend this time while anticipating going to Russia and cooperating with it. Thank you very much.